Hey everybody, this is another review, and as you can tell, my location changed, but that's okay. It's a better location and a lot more space. So far this week, I've seen a few new movies, and the first movie I saw was Kingsman: The Secret Service. Now this movie was really good. What's the story? The story of this movie is about a young man whose father was in a secret service called the Kingsman. And when he passes away, one of his colleagues, played by Colin Firth, goes to the little boy and promises to watch over him. When the boy grows up, he joins the Secret Service, the Kingsman, and becomes a secret agent just like his father. Meanwhile, there's a bad guy, played by Samuel Jackson, and his plan is to use SIM cards and cell phones to manipulate people's minds to take over the world. Yes, take over the world. Not very original, but still, it's pretty awesome. The cast in this movie was very good, and this movie, in general, was very good. Kingsman: The Secret Service was one of my highly anticipated films this year, and honestly, it really paid off. This movie was directed by Matthew Vaughn, who's directed movies like X-Men First Class, Kick-Ass, and Layer Cake, and this movie is just so good. It's so stylistic, and it's so funny, actually. It's action-packed and pretty hilarious, actually. This movie actually pays homage to old-school James Bond movies, and even pays a little bit of homage to Austin Powers, especially in the third act of this movie. Yeah, this movie can get a little silly at times, especially with its action scenes, and some of it does seem a tad cartoony. There's even a villain girl who has knives for legs, which actually is pretty badass in this movie. Pretty badass. The performances in this movie were very good. Taron Edgerton, who plays the main kid, Eggy, yeah, Eggy was his name, he was very good in this movie. He was a very likable character, and I was really rooting for him, and I liked some of the stuff he went through. I love him going through all this training to become a secret agent, and him at the ending was so good. He became a total badass. Mark Strong was good as well, and Samuel Jackson, it was a bit over the top, but I did enjoy him. He could play a very good villain, especially a good villain with a good lisp. Yes, Samuel Jackson almost sounds like Mike Tyson in this movie, but he was really good. He wasn't intimidating, but he was a fun villain. It was like an old school James Bond villain, and I like that. And the girl with the knives for the legs was pretty cool. But yeah, the person who stole this movie was Colin Firth. Colin Firth was awesome in this movie. I'm used to Colin Firth playing like these really sophisticated or classy roles, like King's Speech, Love Actually, Bridget Jones's Diary, or even A Single Man. Yeah, he was really good in this movie, and he could be a badass in this movie, a complete badass. I didn't know he could do such good action like that, and yeah, he pulled it off. He was quite funny too. This movie, in all, was very good, very stylistic, and when it came to the action, it was a lot of fun, and when it came to the comedy, it was really funny. If I had any problems with it, there may be a few pacing issues with the film, and there were a couple side characters. They didn't really fit well with the story, and some character arcs in this film didn't really, play out really right. But yeah, it's good. I really like this movie, and I could tell they might make a couple sequels, which is awesome. I hope Matthew Vaughn stays with the sequels. Every time he makes a movie, like Kick-Ass or X-Men First Class, he never wants to do the sequel after. And sometimes it's fine, like X-Men Days of Future Past was good, but Kick-Ass too. But yeah, I loved this movie. This was a really good movie, and it's only February, and we're already getting some good movies. And yeah, Kingsman: The Secret Service was probably so far the best movie I've seen this year, and I loved it. I loved this movie. It gets a little graphic at times, and there's a scene in this movie that might actually disturb people. It involves a church, all these rednecks fighting each other, and Colin Firth's fighting them. Actually, that's like one of the most badass scenes in the movie. I love that scene, but it might offend some people, and some people might be like, it's a little too disturbing. And I get it, but I loved it. I loved this movie. I loved it, how disturbing it got. I loved how stylistic it was. I loved the action. Loved the freaking direction. And Matthew Vaughn really knows how to direct a good action movie. There was a little bit of shaky cam in the movie, but it kind of worked. He kind of did the Paul Greengrass and made it kind of stylistic, and yeah, it really worked. It was a well-shot movie. The editing was very smooth, and the story was very, very well executed, and I really enjoyed this movie. The ending, man, it got a big laugh at me. This movie was just really good, and the ending was just... I didn't expect the ending. It was always pretty comedic, this movie. It was like an action comedy, but then it kind of gets a little more comedic in the ending. Almost like an Austin Powers kind of feel, and I was still into it. The ending got a big laugh out of me. I thought it was very funny, and yeah, I enjoyed this movie so much. The characters were good, the action was good. Matthew Vaughn did a very good job with this movie, and so it's like one of my favorite movies of the year. And yeah, if I had to give this movie a scale 1 to 10, I'd give it a 9.3 out of 10. Yeah, it was that good. I highly recommend this movie. You won't regret it, especially if you love action movies. You'll have a blast watching this movie. So yeah, check it out. And if you want to see more, please like and subscribe to this channel and join the Ducks.